Hello. I re-imported the models for the character and the weapons, so you can see, although this character is currently a naked male, it's better than the robots. It's like much more Dark Souls with now. So just like the previous reports, I created enemy. This is actually a duplicate of the player handle, but however, the enemy should not receive the input control. So I create a MAAI that inherits from the iUser input. So let's check here. And you can see it's inherited of the iUser input. And actually there's nothing. So I have made it constant emit attack signals. And this is actually easy to test my upcoming work. That is adding hit, block, counterback, and best states. So in Dark Souls, the hit states occurs when the player is attacked and lose health. The block states occurs when the player successfully defends against an attack. The counter state is a special gameplay feature inspired by Dark Souls, where the player can press a shield power button at just the right moment to trigger the enemy while also staying them. So let's check. We lock on. So this is a hit state. And when we defense, so we got a block state. His face is his feet is forward, and the counterback is a little bit hard to. Okay, this is the stain time. Say it's sleep for time. That's because it's not facing on me. Okay, this is second time. And this is the die state. So after the die states, we can't input or move the camera. These states have a common characteristic. They depend on the enemy's attack. So therefore, to obtain the enemy attack data, a collision detector needs to be added. And the acquired data is passed to the top level script, which determines the character state and whether to play animations. Here are my design. So as we can see, the actor manager is the big brother of all the scripts, and they will refer the state manager the user information. And the weapon manager manages the weapon. Actually is the data of the weapon data class, and also some functions of weapon controller. So as we can see, the state manager, actor manager, and actor controller related to the character that are placed under the player handle. You can see state manager has a lot of states, and the weapon manager is placed under the model, because the weapon model is needed to be placed within the skeleton of the humanoid model. And I played an empty object named weapon handle in the position of the left and right hand to hold weapon and shields. And the weapon handle is equipped with the weapon controller. And the weapon model itself is attached the weapon data. We can see the attack here. And we can find it also in the left shoulder. Here. Here is the cube. Don't worry about here. The weapon controller will be added automatically. So let's start with those class. The first is the battle manager. So this is a class obtain the capsule collider component and set its center position, height, radius, and other properties to make a vertical capsule trigger, which is crucial for determining weapon damage. In the on-trigger enter method, if the collision object attack is weapon, we need to find our own actor manager and execute the method to attempt to damage the character. Next is actor manager. It is a big boss that logically control all the components, and only it has the authority to deduct health based on the information from other scripts. It defined a generic method bind, that is to bind a specific type of components to the specified game object and return the bought component instance. The try to damage method it attempts to damage the target character, but first take corresponding judgments based on the character state, such as whether the counterback was successful, or whether the character is immortal, and whether it is defending. And the hit or die method is calculating the character's health. Here, it's calculating the character's health and determines if the character is hated or being killed. Finally, there's some method for setting the animation. This is working on the actor controller. And next is the state manager. So the state manager defines a series of public variables, including the max HP and the current HP, and also lots of states of player. And there's also a health bar, which stands for the current health of the player. So in here we check the states of the animator and determine which states we are, and those states will be also used by the actor manager. We can see in the start method, the HP is initialized by setting HP to the initial value of HP max, and the add HP value method is used to increase or decrease health depending on the value passed in, and the result is clamped between 0 and HP max. Since the state manager manages the health, it's also responsible for the health bar representation. I imported a slide bar. It's here, and use the health bar value. Here, to let the health bar stand for the HP. So you can see it's right here, and there will be determine whether the HP max is, and 0 will be stand for the current health of the player, and also the other characters. And for the weapon manager, it will be used a deep first search to get all weapons handled, and the weapons controller under it, as well as the weapon model objects, since the Unity itself don't have the API for deep first search, so I declare it in a helper transform helpers. And actually, because it's not a model behavior, you can call it directly. So the following code segment is for automatically binding of the weapon controllers, which is commonly used later. And below, I declare some methods that will be needed for the combat. It may cause continuous damage or accidental harm. Therefore, for those two methods, weapon enable and weapon disable, because in the combat, if the collision box remains open during the combat, it may cause continuous damage or accidental harm. So therefore, I added these two sets of methods at the proper position in the animation to control the opening and closing of the collision box. You can see in any time, like tagging, seeing the animation even here. So in here you open the capsule collider, and in here you close the weapon collider, and you can see it's just you first wield the weapon, and you draw back the weapon. This is a very reasonable design. And the weapon enable method is based on the current character's state tag. So actually based on which side you are attacking, and control the collision box. Lastly, the declaration of the shield power is actually the counterback function. Since the timing of the counterback is crucial, I also use the animation event. From that here. So you can see here use counter back enable to set a counter back counter back enable states, and here is counter back disable states. You can see remember the state manager. So there's actually two variable stand for counter back, and this is related to the animation states, and this is related to the events, whether it is successful or failure counter back. And in here we defined a successful counter back and a failure counter back. Finally, let's look at the flow from hit to health deduction. First, the weapon enters the battle manager's collision box, and the battle manager verifies the weapons tag and pass the collected object to the actor manager, and the actor manager calls the try do damage. So it will make a judgment based on the character's state, and if it's successful counter back, so target player will be stunned, else they will get hurt. And if it's immortal, if it's defensed, or else if it's attacking, this means do not play hate animation. And if player do nothing, of course they will get hurt. So since the hit or die method is called passing the target's weapon controller and the corresponding parameters to determine if it hits or deducts health. So we will check if HP is bigger than 0. If it's bigger than 0, so we'll do hit by getting the weapon's attack value, and if not, then the character will go down. In summary, the above code segment handles player attacks in different stages. The states operate actions based on the specified conditions, including health deduction, playing animation and effects, and determining if the player is dead. And finally, I skillfully bend this lead animation within the animator, and since these mentioned states in the actor manager can be triggered at any time, we expect the counterback. So for those, it should be connected with any state. And it worth noting that the immortal state, before we mentioned in the determination of the health deducting. So, actor manager. Here. So this state is actually a logical state. It's generally triggered by rolling and jobbing. Roll and job, so it does not have a specific animation. And also when the character dies, we can say, so since we have mentioned those animations, we have to use FSM on enter method to make some adjustments. And there's on die here. So if we go to the on die enter, the input and the camera position should be locked. Also in the on hit enter, the input should be locked.